I'm working into the mix. I don't have this phase of, I'm very intentful in my work.
Yeah.
I do stuff
you could say
intentfully.
with a lot of intent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you have any templates? We kind of touched upon this. And that said, is there anything you use to work faster and get inspired quicker?
I have templates for mixing, which again are... Yeah, my template is something I've worked on for years, like really. And now I have this funneling type of template.
Like a top-down mixing kind of thing?
Yeah, it's not the way I work technically necessarily, but it is in that, the drums go to a bus that goes to a stem. Each group of, each section of the song has its own sends and returns.
Interesting.
And yeah, they also get funneled into the stem because I've had this situation.
We have to print stems for people.
Yeah, and it's just,
so
you have the drum reverb in the vocal stem. It's annoying. And so it's very organized, and my sends are there, ready to go.
Covering your ass for when clients ask you for stem.
I just
stem bounces.
Right click it, commit, and it's there. And so that's regarding mixing.
Yeah.
But again, everything is empty. Like I don't let myself be lazy. I go through a searching phase of what's the correct reverb for this thing. And if I feel it's correct also for a different section, then I'll drag it.
Yeah.
But I'll go through the process of thinking, is it correct or not?
So can you tell me how you work so quickly? Because you were telling me before we even started recording that you work really, really quickly. And from what I've gathered, templates are the way to work quickly. And you're saying you don't really use templates in the traditional sense. So what is your workaround? How do you get it going fast?
I think I've invested a lot of time in developing my taste. And again, being intentful, like I really don't like the approach of, just let's do it so we'll have it. No, I don't really like that. If I'm plugging in a guitar, I'm looking for the tone and I'm looking for the range where I'm playing. So everything will serve it. And again, if I need to go back and fix, I'll go back and do it. But being very intentful and knowing what you like more and less and what works for you more or less is the way to go. Because, I know where I want to go. And when I do not, I still know the general guidelines, which are, again, don't clash frequency-wise. Be cool. I don't know, do cool stuff. Stay interesting. And that's it. So if something works, it's there. And if it doesn't work, then I'll invest how much time it needs until it does. And then I just move on.
Amazing. What are some things you do to get something to sound cool? What are some things you tend to do?
I distort everything to start off. Almost. I'm fixated. Distortion is the way I see it is distortion is compression and EQ for, pros. Because it's, an EQ uses the harmonic content you have and alters it. I mean, you can put it up or down.
Right.
Distortion alters the harmonic content. And regarding compression, and we all know that you can do the experiment yourself. You can see, you feel the same level, but the peak level is completely different. The RMS is completely different. I know, it's amazing. We can talk about it for years. Never mind.
Yeah, we don't have to get that fine detail. But.
Yeah. So there are two things. I alter the tone. Like I can use a piano. You saw it in the video I posted.
Yeah.
I can use traditional stuff, but I'll try to make them interesting, either with processing, audio processing, like distortion or modulation of some sort, or layering or whatever. I just, in short, I try to surprise myself. If it's too regular, again, unless the artist wants it or the song calls for it, I just try to surprise myself.
Amazing.
Yeah. Do weird stuff.
Do weird stuff. I like that.
Distorted.
That should be your trademark.
My trademark
Hillel
is
Reiner, do weird stuff.
my trademark is make music, not excuses. Actually,
That's also really good. Yeah, a lot of people like to make excuses and like to just sit around and complain instead
the
of
future
actually
is
doing
here.
it. Yeah, just do it.
There's no good excuse nowadays, no matter what gear you have, to make lousy music. There's no excuse, really.
Yeah, totally. So what are some of your favorite instruments? Could be virtual or real, and why?
I really love strings. Like, I use LA scoring. I also use live performers. Depends on the budget, obviously.
Yeah.
I love strings. I love piano. I use Keyscape. And also, like, since Keyscape came, I do not record live piano anymore. It's not worth not the money, not the effort. It's like it's an amazing library.
Yeah.
And also regarding being creative, I can go into Keyscape and just look for a word I'm not familiar with and just press it and see, how it sounds like.
Right. I've seen Keyscape is part of Omnisphere, and I actually don't own it, but I was with Mendy, who was a previous guest on this podcast, and he was showing me just searches random stuff in Omnisphere, and then crazy patches come up.
Yeah.
So you just get inspired instantly to do something new.
Spectrasonics are really great. They have their tone, they have their signature tone, which is it's a bit of a problem, but so piano and strings are very, very important in my own music for sure. And what else do I like? I don't know. Synths, I love everything. I try at least not to have go-tos. I'm currently in a piano and strings phase, but
amazing.
Yeah, synths are also there.
So do you want to get maybe a little bit deeper into what you're talking about, layers? I told the audience about the Facebook video that you posted in Hebrew, and you just mentioned it really quickly in passing. So you want to kind of go into detail about that and tell us about it?
Yeah, it's a technique I wanted to share that I use in a few manners. One will be to be a bit more unique. Let's say the example I gave in that video was taking a piano and then putting another layer of I think it was a chimatron or whatever.
I think it may have been a Celeste or something.
Yeah, maybe that will give it just a unique texture that is a bit more, I don't know, unique.
Yeah.
And the other way I would use it, maybe one library doesn't give me exactly what I want. I showed a free Spitfire library, Labs. It's great, but the dynamics are just crap. So I took a Keyscape patch and just took the left hand in order to make that piano feel more like I wanted it to sound.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you're basically using two different piano instruments to make one cohesive piano sound.
Yeah, and I can use more for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
I can sometimes even when I go into deeper details, I can put that more of the unique thingy only in specific places where I want it to sound more unique.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, layering there's also another option I didn't show on the video. Sometimes I can use it instead of an EQ, because again, EQ is very limited.
Yeah.
So sometimes if I program a synth and it didn't really have the harmonic content because either I didn't program it good enough or I've reached a point which is great but just not enough, I'll program another thing with, I don't know, a different kind of synthesis which will create that harmonic content that lacks in the first one.
Kind of like putting a second microphone on a piano and blending it into taste, or an amplifier or something like that.
Exactly.
Is there anything you do specifically in your productions that you think gives you a trademark sound?
Well, my quote-unquote trademark sound is something I am not familiar with enough. I've recently, I don't know if recently, but people hear stuff I do and they were like, you did this, right? And I don't hear it, but other people do. So maybe I'm not the... Yeah, I've actually sat with a client I'm working with now and put on a song I produced a year ago or even more. And I thought it's very different from anything I do. And I put it on. He's like, you produced this. I'm like, whoa, nice. How'd you know? And he said, there's this sound. I have no idea. Again, I think it all comes
What
back to...
What do they tell you it is?
They don't really. I think it comes back to taste.
So there's a signature sound that you don't know what it is, basically.
Again, I go for what I like. I go for what feels good to me. And if you like my taste, you'll like my shit. And if you don't, you won't. And I can't stress enough how developing your taste, both as an artist and a producer, will be the game changer more than anything. More than technique, more than gear. Like, sit down, listen to music, and figure out, or create music, both, and figure out what you like more or less. That will give you that signature sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Dave Pensato is famous for having said, they pay us for our taste. So, yeah, definitely. How do you balance your creative vision with what the artist is going for? Do you worry about what the artist might think?
I worry a lot, because sometimes they didn't develop their taste enough. But when I trust an artist and an artist's taste, then it's no worries, because I think there are two things to note. Like, there's taste and then there's quality. Regarding quality, I'll stand up. But if it's a matter of taste, like I like something and the artist likes something else, then I'll go for his vision, because it's his song, it's his name. He's paying me to be actually an extension of his hands and his ears and legs and whatever. So I'm there for him. But if he is hurting the quality of the product, again, quote unquote, then I'll stand up for it. So I try to, and there's an emotional process to go through, because a lot of the times, the artist will want something I don't, and I'll be like, what? But I like the other thing better. But
especially, in the end of the day, it is the artist's song, but you also do put in a lot of heart and, like I tell people all the time, music production is emotional labor. Like, at the end of the day, you're almost as invested in the song as the artist you're collaborating with. True. And like, if you do a guitar solo that you really love and the artist hates it, then it's like, oh man, I worked so hard. I love this. I thought it was great for the song. Yeah. It's tough.
So I try to disconnect these type of emotions and stay focused on both the quality of the song and the artist's vision. And, I do really want to like the song in the end, but it doesn't have to be my way. There are a few paths.
Yeah, totally. I think Tzvi was even telling me with the song that you produced for him that there were some things that he fought you on that he really wanted.
Yeah, true.
And at the end of the day, he's really happy. Yeah. And so I don't know what that process was like, because I wasn't in the room. Yeah. But clearly there was enough compromise between the two of you to make something that was unique and special.
Exactly. I think with artists you work with, it's very important to with the unexperienced ones, to make it clear that it's a relationship and you need to keep the conversation open. If you feel something, I want to know about it. Let's discuss. Let's have an artistic discussion that will lead us, because we're both we have the same goal. We want it to sound great. We want it to be happy with it. Yeah. So if you're open with one another and you're also open for, criticism and whatnot, then it'll be an amazing process way beyond music. I guarantee. I had amazing human experiences with my artists. Amazing tears and whatnot.
Wow. So one thing I didn't mention in the intro, and something that you told me that you do, is nomadic recording. You think of yourself as a nomadic producer. Do you want to just quickly tell the audience about that?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in heavy-duty studios with a lot of gear, and I thought that this is the way a producer needs to look like. You need to have a studio with gear and blah, 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 blah. But actually, looking at myself, my first album was recorded in a public shelter. The second in a soon-to-be-demolished house. The third in a Druzi village in the north. The fourth around apartments I realized I don't work that way. And actually nowadays, we're new school producers. I've been doing this for 7 years, but it's not all that much.